If I handed you a blank notebook right now and told you to write who you are without mentioning your job or your age, could you do it?
Wait, without my job? Or my age? I.
Exactly. You hesitate. Most people do. They write, I am a manager, or I am 30 years old. But that is what you do and how long you have been alive. It is not who you are.
That is actually terrifying. If you take away the titles, I am not sure what is left. Just a person sitting in a studio in Portland.
And that fear is exactly why we tell the story of Mark. It is a story used by language learners worldwide, but it is not just about vocabulary. It is a psychological mirror.
Mark is the guy who wakes up, looks in the mirror, and realizes he is living a ghost life.
Yes, he is. He has the small apartment, many things moving for, but if you feel more that, he has the office job. Every morning he leaves at 8, takes the bus, and pays his fare. He is doing everything society told him is correct.
But he looks around the bus and everyone is exhausted. Nobody is talking. It is just a daily march to nowhere.
Psychologists actually have a term for this. It is called identity foreclosure. It happens when you accept a role given to you by your parents or society without ever exploring what you actually want.
Identity foreclosure. Wow. So your brain just shuts down the search for meaning.
Exactly. Your default mode network in the brain gets hardwired to routine. Wake up, drink coffee, work, sleep. The tragedy isn't that Mark is unhappy. The tragedy is that he doesn't even know why he is numb.
Until the coffee shop. He sits next to an old man.
The old man is the disruption. He asks Mark, "Are you happy?" And Mark gives the classic defensive answer, "I have a job and a home."
Because we confuse stability with happiness. We use our possessions to prove we are okay.
Right, but the old man cuts right through it. That is not my question. Do you know who you really are? Then he hands Mark a blank notebook.
That is the scene that gets me. Mark takes it home, opens it after dinner, and tries to write. But he stops. He realizes his entire identity is just his name, his age, and his office building.
It is a terrifying moment. He goes to sleep, confused. But our brains are brilliant. When the conscious mind is stuck, the subconscious takes over. Mark dreams about his childhood.
He sees himself playing in the garden, drawing pictures. He wanted to be an artist.
And listen to what his parents used to say. His mother said, "You are special." His father said, "Follow your heart." But somewhere between childhood and 30, the world forced him to trade that magic for a paycheck.
I have to stop you there, Jordan, because this sounds very idealistic. Quitting your job to paint? Most people have bills. We have rent. We have credit card debt keeping us awake at night. Is this just a fairy tale?
I am so glad you brought that up, because living a miserable gray life just because you are afraid of being broke is the real illusion.
How so?
You pretend the office job is safe, but chronic stress, depression, and the silent desperation of hating your life, that kills you physically. The security is fake if it costs you your soul.
That is heavy. But it is true. The stress of living a lie is often worse than the stress of chasing the truth.
Exactly. So Mark wakes up from this dream, and he does something crucial. He does not just think about it. He calls his mother.
He asks her what he was like as a child, and she laughs softly, remembering him. "You were full of dreams," she says. "You wanted to change the world."
That phone call is the turning point. He finds his old box of photos. He sees his old paintings. Colorful, bright, completely opposite to his gray apartment.
And he says, "I forgot I could do this." It is heartbreaking how easily we forget our own talents.
But the next step takes raw courage. He goes to an art shop. He buys colors, brushes, paper. When the shopkeeper asks, "Are you an artist?" what does Mark say?
He says, "I am trying to be."
Right there. That is the birth of the new identity. He does not claim to be perfect. He just admits he is trying. When he sits down to paint, his hands shake.
The shaking hands. That detail is so real. It is the physical manifestation of fear and excitement. Your body knows you are doing something that matters.
Neuroplasticity in action. Adult brains resist new skills because it takes massive energy. But as he paints the sunrise, he feels a surge of dopamine. He says, "This is what I love."
He paints until late at night. Then he shows it to his neighbor, and she actually wants to buy one.
Validation is a powerful drug. It proves that his passion has value in the real world. That is when he reaches the ultimate crossroad.
The resignation letter. He writes to his boss, "I want to leave my job."
And notice the text says he feels scared but also excited. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It is taking action despite the fear.
He opens a small studio. He teaches children. He donates to his community. It is a complete 180-degree shift from the isolated guy on the bus.
Because purpose connects us to others. A meaningless life is usually an isolated life. A purposeful life naturally bleeds into the community.
Wait, let's talk about the final scene. A year later, he meets the old man again.
Yes, Mark says, "You changed my life," and the old man replies with the ultimate truth.
No, you changed your own life.
Exactly. The old man just provided the mirror. The notebook was empty. Mark had to find the courage to fill it.
And when the old man asks again, "Who are you?" Mark's answer is entirely different this time.
He doesn't mention his age. He doesn't mention a corporate title. He says, "I am someone who helps others. I am an artist, a teacher, and a friend."
I am the person I was born to be.
Professional, insightful. Learning a language through a story like this, it works because it bypasses the logical brain and hits the emotional core. You remember the English words because you felt the pain of the character.
So to everyone listening right now, get a piece of paper.
Write down who you are. No job titles, no ages, just you. If it scares you, good. That means you are finally waking up.